Hello and welcome to Ghoul Gang Rising. We got the whole posse here tonight.
Let's flip and go!
Let's flip and go. This is based.
This is so based.
This is
more based than you could believe.
This is based. Let's go.
Groiper.
Get groiped.
Oh man, that's aggressive.
Oh man, this is what real American patriots look like.
That's right. Oh man,
groiper.
You couldn't make it up.
Got the whole posse here tonight. So here we are. Welcome to episode 26 of Ghoul Gang Rising. This is the show that we usually do on a weekly basis where we dunk on the worst foreign policy takes of the week. Tonight, however, I had a debate that was scheduled that got postponed. And so here we are. We are doing this instead. We have a lot of cringe to go over because if you will recall from Ghoul Gang Rising over the weekend, we only got through one video and it was Joe Biden. It was Joe Biden. It was hashtag white flag Joe, basically sounding like a groiper for an hour. So we're bad. It's been too long. Bring the boys home. And like, we're bad.
Yeah, that was excruciating, honestly, and took way too long. Henry quit like a third of the way through. I don't blame him.
That was smart.
But, yeah, he'd already seen it, so he got it. He understood what was going down. But no, we have a lot, and
it was such a doozy of a video. To Zoosh's point here, it was such a doozy of a
Zoosh.
It was such a doozy.
Zoosh.
Yeah, it was such a doozy of a video that it was the only episode of Ghoul Gang Rising we've ever done where it's only been one video. And it wasn't that shorter than a typical video. It was almost 3 hours.
Yeah, that's bad. But, you know, hopefully people enjoyed, and we deconstructed things in pretty grand detail. So
yeah,
take what you will from that. But obviously we're back. You know, I'm not against doing more than one show a week. It really just depends on the time we have available. Usually Kevin has something going on. This obviously is a good option to fall back on if things
sometimes your plans fall through. Sometimes, you know, the debate that you had scheduled doesn't pan out. We'll see. Hopefully we can get another one of those going in the near future with Lunacy. But you know, failing that, like I said, we do have the whole posse here tonight. So I mean, you guys showed up. So
that's true.
We got the Groiper Army. So
I thought that the 10-year-old army, that's right.
The 10-year-old army.
I thought that we could start off with one that I saw making the rounds today on Twitter. I saw it, immediately jotted it down and said, okay, we have to watch that. This is obviously in relation to what's been happening in Cuba the last couple of days. Title of this video is How to Spot a Color Revolution.
I'm Luna from Lunacy. This is a message for all my comrades in the global south and anyone who opposes imperialism.
No. So hold on a second. I was aware of her existence months ago because Voosh had mentioned her and that he had an issue with her and called her a tanky. I'd never listened to her speak before. We're going to restart it. The first 5 seconds of this is inaudible. Did you understand what she just said?
Only after listening to it a few times myself.
Well, that just happened. Okay, let's try that again.
Hi, I'm Luna from Lunacy. This is a message for all my comrades in the global south and anyone who opposes imperialism. Here are some tips for how to identify a color revolution.
Okay, but like, I understand that she got into a debate with Voosh, or they had debated online or something, and that there are tankies that hype her up. This can't be serious, right? Like, is she? Is this performance art, or is she for real?
Oh no, this, as far as I can tell, if it was a troll, it'd be a pretty elaborate troll. I'll tell you that much.
You've got to be kidding me, dude.
So basically, she's going to be spinning a bit of a conspiracy theory here that the protests happening in Cuba are not organic, and in fact are the product of imperialist meddling from the dastardly United States.
What is her name exactly? I know it's Luna. What's her last name? Luna Kai? Luna Chai?
I'm not sure. You're asking the wrong guy. We'll just go with Luna. Looney Luna.
Luna Oi. Okay. So, okay. We'll bring up her profile on Twitter, actually, just so that you guys can understand who we're talking about. She does have almost 50,000 followers. So, she is a, she's a public figure. And we'll take a look at her profile. As is usually the case with these types of tankies, there's usually something about their profile that you'll notice if you look closely at the screenshot. But let's just bring that up. So we'll go through it from top to bottom. Let's take a look. So it's a cover picture of her. Okay, she got a mural behind her. Born to be commie. Okay, that's wholesome. Luna Oi underscore, I guess, yeah, Vietnam. Luna Oi is a YouTube channel about Vietnamese foods. Oh, okay. Well, yeah, that's interesting. So she's a commie, but she also likes food. Isn't that kind of an oxymoron? Okay. Culture, travel, and other funny stuff. Check it out. And then we got Hanoi, Vietnam. We got a link to her YouTube channel. I'm not sure how many subs she's got. Let's take a look at that.
She's got over like 50,000.
55,000. Yeah, 55,000. Not bad. 1.5 million views total. And what else do we have going on there? Oh yeah, followed by Ray Murasame. That makes sense. Okay. Okay. There we go. Okay. I just wanted to take note.
I think we have a good understanding of what the journey we're about to embark on.
Here we go. Let's flip and go.
Get the whole posse.
We got the whole posse.
First, color revolutions usually happen when a country is having elections or in the midst of a political or economic crisis. Second,
wait, so she doesn't define what a color revolution is? I mean,
no.
Look, it's kind of a weird let's just keep it real. It's kind of a weird and esoteric term. Like, people get revolutions, but color revolution is not something that necessarily makes sense if you're not familiar with what we're talking about. So, obviously viewers of this show are going to know because they keep up with foreign policy, but it probably is worth noting what even a color revolution is. So color revolution would refer to largely the revolutions in the wake of the dissolution of the Soviet Union. You talk about various different colors associated with each of these revolutions. So you have things like you have like an orange revolution. So I'm going to bring up, because some of them are named after flowers. Georgia had a different color revolution. And basically what it refers to is that there's a symbol or a color scheme that was associated with them. But it's not just the Soviet Union. So you have the Cedar Revolution of 2005 in Lebanon. You have the Tulip Revolution 2005 in Kyrgyzstan, which was former Soviet. But it's also not just in the wake of the dissolution of the Soviet Union. It's also like in the decades following it. You had the Orange Revolution in 2004 in Ukraine. And you had the Rose Revolution in 2003 in Georgia. And at the end of the day, these various revolutions, what they essentially amount to is the people of these countries attempting to overthrow the yoke of their oppressors. And oftentimes they're not that successful. Of course, in Ukraine in 2004, I mean, did that liberate the country for good? No. but you had the bulldozer revolution in Yugoslavia in 2000. That one was black. Yeah, the Rose Revolution in Georgia that we talked about. Yeah, the purple. Okay, so the purple revolution was in Iraq. You have the blue revolution in Kuwait. The jeans revolution in Belarus. That was light blue for denim. You've got the saffron revolution in Myanmar. And you've got the yellow rally in Malaysia. You got the green movement in Iran. A ton of different colors. She doesn't go into that background. I mean, I guess likewise, all of her fans keep up with foreign policy too, so they would already know because they watch Russia Today and stuff. So,
but this video could be seen by anyone.
Yeah, but like I feel like most people would be like, "What's a color revolution? Why is it called that?" Like it's not something that you would just know unless you had studied the different parts of the world. I mean, I'm guessing most of her audience she's trying to direct it is the United States, right? So, because she films it in English. So,
yeah, I kind of got that impression. What was her first point again?
Yeah, we'll go back.
She says everything so fast. It's we're going to do more pausing than usual.
Usually happening, but that's not really a definition because you could say that's what happens with a revolution too. Like the color, and also it's worth noting that. So I define, what they were, but it's worth noting the political symbolism or the dog whistle that's implied in a color revolution. Tankies, when they say color revolution, they try to use that to distinguish what they see as a USA CIA deep state sponsored neocon astroturf movement to undermine the people's revolution, to distinguish from the revolution, because they would see the states in those countries as the revolution. They would see the state in Ukraine as the revolution. They would see the state in Cuba as the revolution. And so when they talk about color revolutions, that's a way of essentially slandering the people on the ground as being CIA assets. Because the idea is that, well, the CIA, they pay people to do color revolutions to overthrow Russia and their puppets. That's the allegation. That's the coding that's going on. So
yeah, fairly insane. That's a lot of money to be thrown around. And to be honest with you, it makes even less sense considering that in the wake of this, the response from the White House is, yeah, there's condemnation, but it's not calls for a war. It's not even calls for a change of leadership necessarily. The calls that followed the protests from the Biden administration were to the government, try to listen to your people, which obviously they weren't going to do.
No, we watched tonight. There was a short clip of somebody who basically he was just streaming and calling for freedom in Cuba, and the police break into his house as he's on stream and arrest him. So, but we got the tankies and everything out there, and all these stupid democratic socialists saying how they stand in solidarity with the regime. It's so stupid and lame. And a lot of young people right now are standing in solidarity with the regime. And then you got people like Bastiat and these useless neoliberals on Twitter calling for an end to the embargo. They want to enrich the regime. And so what did I say to Bastiat? I said, oh, because that worked out so well with communist China, right? Let's just have a repeat of that. Wonderful. And I said there can be no free trade with slave states. That's something that neoliberals don't get, because for them, the end game is the free trade. For us, the end game is political liberalization. They're like, political liberalization? All I'm looking at are my all I'm looking at is my stock portfolio, bro. Like, I don't even have stocks. Why would I care? I care about freedom. I don't give a shit about your stocks.
Don't you mean stonks?
No, but yeah, fuck your stonks. I don't give a shit about your stonks. I care about freedom. So
that's gay.
That's right.
I thought you were a capitalist, Kevin. I thought you were a capitalist.
Yeah, whatever. I'm gonna have a video. I'm gonna have a video out soon. There's another clip that surfaced from the Nick Fuentes saga, Politicon CPAC, and he at one point sees a journalist that he doesn't like, and he goes after him and gets all of his scrapers to boo at him. And and at one point tells him to get griped, whatever that means. And then he says afterwards, near the tail end of the video, he says, "Journalists are gay," and they all chant along and say, "Yeah." So journalists are gay. So that's going to be a new video because that's hilarious. That's hilarious because like presumably there are conservative journalists that he's supposed to like. No, they're just all gay. That's pretty funny. So
I can't wait to see. I want to see a take from a journalist that covers that positively. That'd be pretty funny.
Oh yes, like we need to give Nick Fuentes a second chance, or Nick Fuentes didn't deserve to get nuked off of Twitter. That was a violation of his First Amendment rights. Oh, Dave Rubin.
Ugh.
Dave Rubin. He doesn't call. There's no way he's dumb enough to call himself a journalist, right? Like,
I've never heard it, but it's possible.
Yeah. Well.
The country is
Because he would defend Nick Fuentes. He'd say that's his First Amendment right to go to CPAC and be on Twitter.
That's so dumb.
It's so sad because all these guys, Charlie Kirk too, all of them used to be on the property rights side of thing. Like 5 years ago, they used to be property rights absolutists, and now they're it's not even First Amendment. Now they're free speech absolutists. They used to be
free speech.
Yeah, free speech. Now they used to say that was a private company's business, and if you didn't like it, you can make your own media app or whatever, which they've been doing. But whatever.
having elections or in the midst of a political or economic crisis. Second, counter-revolutions can have many motivations. Targets are usually poor imperialized nations.
Wait, that's a new term. Hold on. I've seen colonized before. I've never seen imperialized. That's not a word, is that? I've never heard of that.
I can't say I've seen it. She's breaking new ground, man.
Imperialized? Subject to imperial rule? Or, let's see, this is from, okay, I guess Merriam-Webster has it. Let's see, imperialize. To make imperial. Invest within imperial quality or character. Bring to the form of an empire. Let's see. First known use of imperialize was 1785 in the meaning defined above. So there you go. It's not just some new Zoomerism. I just hadn't heard that used before. That's pretty funny. So, yeah.
Which challenge the hegemony of imperialist nations or which strive towards socialism. 3. Counter-revolutions
Yeah, I there's a lot going on here. Oh, God. Exaggerate social scandals to provoke people to protest. Hello? Look at what went on in Ukraine up until, seriously? Okay, so we're just going to deny the vast corruption, the vast degree of anti-democratic behavior by the government in the wake of the Orange Revolution over there. I mean, they literally threw acid on a guy's face because he dared to challenge the regime, and he was running for the presidency. They put Timoshenko in jail. All that kind of stuff happened. You can look at everything that went on with Yanukovych. Oh, but that's just exaggerated social scandals. Don't mind the fact that they've got billions and billions of dollars of your money that's just going to random construction projects that nobody really needs because their buddies work as oligarchs in the construction industry.
You can just look at what's happening in Cuba right now in the face of the protests. The government banned access to social media. Like they don't want any of this leaking out right now. Completely authoritarian, not unexpected at all. Oh, but it's exaggerated, man. That's not a scandal. Like people are complaining about. What was funny was because I saw a story. I was watching a video about a report on that, and the comment section was filled with people in their first world whataboutism. They'd either mention Nick Fuentes or they'd say, Well, yeah, and big tech in America is censoring political opponents.
Oh god.
Come on, man. That's the comment you're
Bro.
gonna leave. We're talking in the wake of the protests, the government completely clamps down in an effort to hide what's happening, which is completely unethical. And you want to talk about your favorite groiper being banned off Twitter. Okay.
Yeah, and before somebody's like, my favorite groiper. No, he's my second favorite groiper. Kyle Frank is my first favorite groiper, who, by the way, just deleted all of his videos. So what happened, Kyle? Why'd you delete all your videos? That's weird.
He might have been part of a certain posse.
It's just funny now because they're kind of like in cope mode where they realize, like, oh shit, if anybody types in my name, I can't get a job. I guess I'll just delete everything. So, okay. See how that works. Apparently he was there. So I didn't recognize him. But
He's done, son.
yeah.
That's right.
Who's everybody's favorite groipers?
Leave a comment in the comment box
Yeah.
below.
Do you like Nick Fuentes? Do you like Kyle Frank? Do you like that dude with the the bowl cut in the blue suit who looks like he's about to start grade 9? Who's your favorite groiper? We got
the whole posse guy.
Yeah, the whole posse guy. Yeah, that guy with the Hawaiian shirt. Yeah. We got the whole posse.
Social scandals to provoke people to protest. 4. Asian provocateurs on signs with vague slogans like democracy.
Vague slogans. Meanwhile, she has vague slogans like solidarity and class consciousness.
Very vague. You know, when someone sees a sign that says democracy or freedom, they kind of scratch their head and they're like, what are they even talking about? Like, I can't even wrap my head around such a concept. You're going to need to be more specific. It's very vague.
She's got a video out from a year ago. Is Vietnam socialist? She's got a video, how to think like a Vietnamese communist. An intro to dialectical materialism. Okay. And she says she's got Marxism books are boring. So I guess, I don't know. I'm guessing she's going to be recommending like Ho Chi Minh books instead. Addressing Foch and other Western anti-communists. That's funny. Responding to armchair historian on North Vietnamese perspective of the Vietnam War. Vietnam War from a real North Vietnamese perspective. She's got Hands Off Cuba, Mooncast. That's from 45 minutes ago. She's got the flag of Vietnam, the flag of Cuba. Hey, Reece, you know, if you go outside, you are see this thing called the moon. It's like that stupid tweet from Grayson. Oh my God. Boomcast? I get it because her name is Luna. That's why she calls it the Mooncast. I didn't even realize that.
There you go.
Woke imperialism.
No, there's no way she's a troll. No way. She's legit.
Socialism with Vietnamese characteristics. That's another video. Okay.
Okay.
WTF is socialism. Comrade Q&A, Mooncast.
What about Comrade King?
Yeah, where's Comrade King? Where's the monarchist comrade? The dark side of living in Vietnam, socialist society. It's another video. Okay.
I've got shit scheduled with Comrade King tomorrow. Fucking goddamn it. The audacity.
Yeah. There's a look inside Vietnam's Communist Congress, and that's her like waving with like the hammer and the sickle and the star in the background. We got Comrade Q&A again. Oh, she uses StreamYard. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, so does everyone and their mother, so.
Yeah, and before, like, I don't know, Nick Fuentes is like, no, I use OBS.
Yeah, StreamYard probably banned him, so really.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're like, we don't want your money.
Bye-bye.
And he's like, well, I don't have any money anymore. They took my money. This gay country.
This gay country took my money.
Like, I love how he tweeted it. This gay country took my money and banned me from social media. He tweeted that. Well, now he's actually banned from social.
Yeah, that was really prophetic. Maybe they saw that. Like Jack Dorsey saw that after he banned Alex R. And he was like, oh, we didn't get around to him yet. Okay. Banned.
Oh my God. She posted this to YouTube too. It has 9,000 views and has 1,800 likes and used to be 73 dislikes. Now it has 74 dislikes because of me. And we got the one that she uploaded the day before, 2 days ago. Pink washed color revolution in Vietnam. And she's got the South Vietnamese flag and she's got the LGBT rainbow flag there. So those are symbols of capitalism and imperialism. And she's not really a fan of the South Vietnamese flag, which, like, by the way, I have one in my studio, so that's pretty swaggy. Pink washing imperialism in Vietnam and pink washing. Oh my God. She's got
more conspiracies.
Left versus right nationalism. And it's how do elections work in Vietnam? And in the background, she's got like all these kind of like almost like anime style people, and they're all looking up in awe and forward towards the horizon, various different professions. And then in the background, you have the red flag, the gold star, and then you have a slightly translucent golden Ho Chi Minh looking down on everybody with approval. I wonder how elections work there. Dude, like, I mean, and the funny thing is, she's going to call us astroturfed. This looks like it's bought and paid for by the government of Vietnam. All this looks like it's like she must be getting money from Hanoi. Like, it's like Aaron Monte.
You can't say that about him. He'll lose his shit.
Well, no, I'm not saying he gets money from Vietnam. I'm saying he gets money from Russia and Syria, but okay.
He'll call you a liar and a smear merchant
and a slanderer.
Slanderer. Oh boy.
I was based in high school.
And provoke people to protest in order to interrupt regular activities like business or school. 5.
Hold
protesters will
Hold on. That's some alarming speak right there. Regular activities like business and school. Basically what she's saying is, okay guys, keep it moving, keep society chugging forward, no interruptions to the daily schedule, please. Everyone has their designated place to be. You're not supposed to be out and about. Well, obviously, you're not supposed to be out and about protesting the government in Cuba. That's a no-no. They're not going to enjoy that.
Winter's right. Hanoi must have higher standards than this. Maybe she's not being paid because they're like, you're too over the top to be effective.
I feel like they'd give her a better green screen too.
Yeah, no, I guess she's just like a young, dumb bootlicker for the Vietnamese government. That's so lame. Okay.
Oddly chosen props and signs, such as flags of imperialist nations such as the USA or the UK, or signs written in perfect
signs written in perfect English and non-English. Oh yeah, because you can't have anybody in non-English speaking countries speak perfect English. It's not like there's anybody in Japan that would speak English, for example. Not like there's anybody.
Not like it's one of the most popular languages in the world. That's impossible. Oh my God, you wrote in perfect English? How is that even possible? You were born in Vietnam.
Yeah, well, and then in contrast, we have people in English countries that say things like, I used to watch no longer.
and I'll debate everyone.
Yes.
English in non-English speaking nations. Signs might seem prefabricated or overtly professional in design.
Note, prominent
overly
figures
professional.
Wait. This is so goofy. Often, here we go. Imperialist NGOs. By the way, you know what's so funny about that? Like, actual imperialists out there don't really like NGOs too much. I'm not really a fan of NGOs. I'm not an imperialist, but I believe in unilateral power. I think a lot of these NGOs are weak and lame. They only really exist so that people can get rich and virtue signal about how great people they are without actually really improving the situation on the ground. So, yeah. Her whole channel is aimed at Western leftists. Nobody in Vietnam interacts with her online. Okay.
It sounds like what an Anglo would say.
Guess I'm just an Anglo.
With color revolutions are often linked to interventionist agencies such as USAID, NED, or imperialist NGOs.
6. Demands are usually vague and constantly changing. 7. Capitalist
So
media and NGOs would tend to cover the color revolution.
some basic representation, dignity, the right for people to actually be able to go out and criticize the government to begin with. How about demands for a government that is not totalitarian to the point that they alienate support from the rest of the world? A government that's actually going to service people's needs during a global pandemic. That's another concern that people are bringing up, which their government has done dick all about. But they have universal health care. It's probably what we're going to hear.
They fight the imperialist Americans, man.
That universal health care is not really coming handy right about now. You know when it's most needed?
You're just an imperialist Yankee.
With what seems like a coordinated response. Headlines from different organizations might seem overtly similar to one another. Coverage tends to be vague and one.
It's totally not like the various Communist Party media in Vietnam. They totally differ with each other.
It's almost like if you're covering the same story, there's only so many ways you can write the same thing. You know? Like protests erupted in Cuba today. Protests in the streets of Cuba. Oh my God, these headlines are the same. They're saying the same thing. Well, yeah, what do you expect?
Oh, they were supposed to say different things, like the revolution betrayed by the American Yankee devils and the revolution of the people is undermined by the CIA connivers. They're supposed to be different, man.
The media and our government should naturally take the side of the protesters, which they have for the most part. That's how it is. I mean, that's kind of the amazing thing, is all this conspiracy talk of how this is a manufactured protest. Not to discount that we are, in some way supportive of it, but we could stand to be a lot more involved, quite frankly. And I don't have it slated for tonight, but I did bring it up earlier. I don't think that the White House's statement was good enough on this. I think that the statement that they issued was far too contingent on keeping the regime in power and saying, oh, you terrible regime, treat your people better.
Yes.
Yeah, good luck with that. What kind of, but so on one side we have that, which is just useless and almost borderline comical. And then we have this, which is like the US is doing this to topple Cuba. I don't know if you've noticed what kind of government we're dealing with right about now. Probably not. Bill Kristol.
Yeah.
Bill Kristol's dreams of making Cuba the 53rd state probably not going to happen anytime soon.
But anything short of praising the eternal leaders is seen as imperialism.
It's a good way to keep imperialism at bay. Am I right?
Yeah.
8. Once protests get big enough and people's life become heavily disrupted, NGOs and foreign governments will speak up in support of protesters to legitimize.
Protesters? They're not real, man. They're fake news.
They're fake. They're astroturf.
Yeah, no one can have legitimate concerns. No one at all. And then you'll have people talking about intervention. Who? Besides us? Who?
We got the whole posse. We got the whole posse.
Us and the whole posse. Joe Biden, not so much.
know Joe Biden's not hawk posse.
A goal of a counter-revolution is to slowly and steadily build chaos and instability until a puppet government can finally be installed. 10. The key
It's so goofy.
difference between a counter-revolution and a legitimate protest is that counter-revolutions are clandestinely instigated by foreign powers and states.
Spooky.
Dun dun dun. Yeah, no.
Yeah, you know, I
mean,
forgot to do it. No, I forgot to do it. We're actually going to have to issue an alert here. I mean, this should have been done at the beginning. I forgot. So
that is an understatement.
she's a bootlicker. Dude.
This would be my question to her and people like her. Can there actually be, like, she's trying to make some distinction here between a protest and a color revolution. Can there be a legitimate protest? Because I feel like any kind of protest, as soon as someone outside the country piped up in support of it, they'd call a color revolution.
No, there was a legitimate one. Ho Chi Minh and the Peoples and the Comrades and stuff.
Ah,
that was a legitimate protest. They overthrew the French, man. It was a legitimate protest. They brought in communism. Oh, and Lenin when he did the revolution, that was a legitimate protest. And Kim Il Sung and Castro, bro.
Very surprising.
For the benefit of a foreign audience to legitimize acts of external intervention by imperialist nations. It can sometimes be difficult to tell the difference between legitimate protest and counter-revolution, especially because of foreign powers.
What an own! What a self-own! It can sometimes be difficult to tell the difference between a legitimate protest and a color revolution. Almost like this isn't a color revolution. Almost like this is something that organically formed. I don't want to hear any talk about the embargo or sanctions, because those are very not well thought out humanitarian concerns, in my opinion.
Embargo, man.
You know, so those people that you were debating on, kind of the Bastiat crowd, for them, they just don't get the full picture. They look at what's happening. They're like, oh my God, these people are suffering. They need help. And it's like, okay, yeah, I agree. What do you want to do to help? Well, we should open up trade so we can enrich the government that oppresses them. Oh, think you might have this a little backward, buddy.
When you
how is that going to help anybody?
No, but I've explained to them. I've literally talked with Bastiat before and explained our position, and they say that would get people killed. It's not like the regime kills people. Like they don't support war. They're anti-war. It's like that meme the other day of somebody saying, actually, neoliberals are the real anti-war people. And I'm just like, well, yeah, I've been saying that for a long time. They were like some globe trying to be like, oh, you should like us. We're actually anti-war because we want free trade. And I'm just like, mask off. They don't actually care about liberating people. They just want their stonks. So
just want our stonks, man. Hey, look, people dying under the regime, that's just business as usual. But look, people will die. People will die if you'll do an intervention. So you look, we'd rather just make money. And ironically, you know, say what you will about this. I mean, like, that is like some straight up, like, being a proponent of trickle down economics right there. Like, and it's funny because I feel like some of the more left-leaning neoliberals would decry that kind of thing.
Well,
but they're literally saying, if you give money to the regime, everybody will benefit. I don't think they understand how these regimes work very much.
Well, see, that's the thing. Like, I'm not against the idea of trickle down economics. I mean, supply side economics gets a bad rap, except the problem is when you look into the actual growth rates that followed that, a lot of Reagan stuff actually did increase prosperity. in the United States. So it also increased income inequality, but the floor also went up too. So I don't know. Like for me, I'm somebody where it's like I want to generally focus on raising the floor, but supply side economics gets a bad rap. But you're right that a lot of these people are more socially democratic neoliberals these days that actually don't support Reagan. So when people talk about neoliberals, like if this woman here talks about neoliberals, she's talking about Reagan and Thatcher. But a lot of the neoliberals on Twitter would say that Reagan and Thatcher were like far right and that they don't like them and that sort of thing. And so there's really two camps of it because the globe side of things, they don't actually have that much in common with the deregulatory neoliberals of the 1980s. A lot of them will oftentimes make the cases for levying new taxes. You'll oftentimes see land taxes, carbon taxes. You'll oftentimes see new regulations. Sometimes they'll want to get rid of some regulations and bring in new regulations. They don't actually have that much in common with the Chicago school. But if Luna is talking about the neoliberals in America, she's referring to Chicago boys. But where are the Chicago boys on Twitter? Well, they're in the libertarian camp. So it's but they, you know, that's where they moved to. A lot of them, they used to actually be more statist. They used to basically support Reagan and everything. Now these days, a lot of like more neoliberal type people that are more focused on economics are they're more on the side of like the Tea Party or that sort of thing. So I don't know. I mean, you bring up how they would be against trickle down economics. The new ones would be the old school ones were the original proponents of it. So, you know, like they're the ones that invented it. So
yeah, I wasn't really giving any commentary on the issue. I just think that a good number of them would turn out to be hypocritical on that particular front. Not all of them, obviously, but I think that we've discussed for a long time that that's a really big tent when you talk about neoliberals on Twitter or really anywhere online. Because neoliberal at this point, it could basically mean a lot of people. If you're on the left and you're not socialists, that's what a lot of people take to mean neoliberal these days.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, I mean, I've heard Vosh get called a neolib. So,
well, of course. I mean, he's an imperialist now, of course,
and an imperialist.
Often cynically use legitimate social, economic, or political problems and grievances for their own ends. Just be alert, be skeptical, and remember to investigate before you accidentally support a cause.
Take care that you do not inadvertently lend support to a color revolution.
Be skeptical as long as your conclusions are in line with the dear leader.
Yes.
Then it's okay to be skeptical. In all other cases, do not be skeptical one bit.
Oh,
listen and obey.
Recite the slogans of Ho Chi Minh and the Communist Party.
I thought it was these color revolutionists who had the vague symbols and vague signs. But they keep asking for freedom and democracy. What's that? I don't know. Never heard of such things.
They have freedom and democracy in Vietnam. They have the freedom and the democracy to support the great leader's legacy, Ho Chi Minh, and the party.
The revolution. If you want to learn more about recent revolution in Vietnam, check out my latest video on my channel, Lunacy.
that was quite the ending. Well,
I guess her name is pronounced I. I thought it was Oi. I. Okay, Luna I.
Oi. Aussie,
yeah.
Aussie. Oi, oi, oi. Yeah, no. Probably not Oi. That was supposed to be short, but naturally it was covered on our show, so it wasn't.
Yeah, so we're at the 48-minute mark. But we still got the whole posse here tonight.
Oh, yeah, we got the whole posse. Let's flip and go.
We got the whole posse. Let's go. Let's flip and go. This is base.
We already played a bootlicker alert. I have another kind of alert you're going to need to play right about now.
I'm guessing a clown alert or a concern alert.
This would be the CERN variety.
Okay.
The title of this video is UN, you probably already knew,
Oh, God.
passes a resolution to keep Syrian border
News from the
open for humanitarian aid.
United Nations, a critical resolution for men, women, and children struggling to survive in Syria. NBC Chief Foreign Affairs Correspondent, and of course the host of this show, Andrea Mitchell, joins me now. Andrea, it's lovely to see you. What can you tell us about this?
Well, this is a big deal, and thanks so
I
much
remember,
for having me today.
according to Dave Rubin, this woman is a Democrat, even though she's not, because she had the audacity to criticize Trump for not wearing a mask. So there.
Brave Dubin agrees with that.
What a moron.
I can't get over the fact that there's still fans of Dave Rubin, unironic fans that'll tell you, no, you go watch Dave Rubin, read Dave Rubin, Dave Rubin talks about this.
They'll quote him as if he's ever said anything profound.
But he's never said anything original. Anything that you could quote him on to prove your point, you could get something more original from freaking Steven Crowder or Ben Shapiro.
They want to give Dave his credit, man. They're trying.
Like Dave Rubin, there's nothing there. He's not edgy. He's not funny. He's not original. He's not smart. He's not clever. He's not witty. He's grifty. He's shifting and grifting, but that's it. It's like Grift Gang. It's like the Jimmy thing. Yeah, Shag Grifter versus Virgin Honest. Yeah. Also, yeah, no, that is so cringy. That's actually worse. This is actually worse than the Nick Fuentes green screen. Take a look at the green screen there. Now, you might say, oh, well, that's just like Washington. Got some landmarks and stuff in the background. Okay, whatever. Look at the cloud pattern.
Oh, yeah, no, it's a drawing. It looks like it anyway.
But like that set of the cloud that's to her left and the cloud that's to her right, that's the same cloud. The background is different.
You're right.
No, because the buildings are all different. They're continuous for the buildings. That actually looks good. The clouds are duplicated. Why? Why would you do that? It looks so fake now. Why would you do that?
It's yeah, no, it doesn't. It looks like a painting. The whole thing, but that
like
sky is
news.
ridiculous.
It looks like fake news. They're fake clouds, bro.
Fake grapefruits, fake watermelons.
Yeah, and before they tried to tell me like, oh, that's just like a statistical anomaly. They're actually different clouds. They just look similar. Like
you just like to recognize patterns out in nature, man.
Oh, it's such a sheeple.
I wasn't supposed to be working today, but the UN has unanimously approved aid to continue to 3.2 million Syrian refugees in Syria from Turkey. It's the last remaining border crossing due to expire tomorrow. And the deal here is that the U.S. ambassador, Linda Thomas Greenfield, did broker this agreement, working with all the other members of the Security Council. But she was taking the lead, of course, to cut a compromise with Russia, threatening to veto this extension. Now, this has been long sought by U.S.
Of course. Naturally.
Workers and other non-government workers, relief organizations. The International Rescue Committee is criticizing it, we should point out, because aid workers and the U.S. wanted 3 border crossings because there has been so much greater need this year with drought, with COVID. There's real famine there. They need more than they've been getting, and this was the last remaining crossing. Russia had blocked the other 3, and so there was really a need to at least bring 2 more to be open. But now,
I thought Russia cared about all the good Christians in Syria.
That's right. That's right.
What
I thought
happened?
they protect Christians. What happened?
That's amazing. Like, what a picture perfect example of why we don't like the UN. What a picture perfect example of how, in your words, the United Nations is a compromise between good and evil. Oh, we wanted 3 border crossings to get into food aid. Russia didn't like that very much. So what do we have to do? This is the fucked up state of the world. What do we have to do? Oh, we have to go through Turkey, an autocratic ally. If you even want to, the thick dude crossing. They need a sign on the side of the road. Thick dude Xing.
Yeah. You know who the leader of Turkey is, by the way. He's Recep Tayyip Santos. So
Rob Erdogan.
Yeah, because the governor of Florida is Rob Erdogan. He's Robert Erdogan. So
exactly.
You've got Recep Tayyip DeSantis running Turkey. So,
and that's what you need to rely on to have any hope, I guess, of getting the aid into Syria. Oh, actually, you know, there might be a better way. It's a little radical, might spook a few people. It looks a little bit more like having a strong U.S. presence in Syria to begin with, an ousting of an oppressive state, and then we could just bring in aid whenever we want.
Base.
How about that? Oh, but no. So not only are we subject to Russia's vetoes, but to get anything done under this system, we have to rely on the thick dude who has a real regard for Syrian people. I can tell you that much. You know, he really he treats them like his own children, practically.
Dude. Oh, I mean, I've had people try to tell me that, well, the UN is good, the UN has some flaws, but you don't throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Oh.
And I'm like, there's no baby at the UN. The baby, you could just get NATO to be the baby. Like, bump the bathwater. You know, at this point, it's like saying you wouldn't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater, and the bath is BA''ATH. You know, you're just like, and it's like, and then Dick Cheney saying like, "Shut the fuck up, Baathist." You know.
But I was really hoping somebody. I think someone did make that meme, the Bed Bath and Beyond.
Yes, Bed Bath and Beyond, because they got the bath party over there. So
that's awesome.
Which we visited just last month, just in June, with the UN ambassador, the U.S. ambassador, is at least going to remain open for another 12 months. It's not enough, but it's more than nothing. It certainly will sustain them and try to prevent the famine, as well as the vaccines, the other aid that they need, the shelter. As recently, Casey, as just last weekend, there was another attack by the Syrian
regime. It'll be open
regime.
for 12 months.
3 children died.
Hey, at least we can do this for 12 months. Or we could go in and do it indefinitely. You know, like that. You know, you could go in, you could help build up a friendly government, and then you could send them aid whenever you please, and there'd be no issue. You wouldn't have any concern over that regime weaponizing the aid against their people or using it to denigrate the United States like they do in North Korea.
Base.
Just a thought.
That attack in the Idlib province. And so this is so critical. And Russia's position was that all the aid should flow through Assad, through the regime that's been attacking these people, making them homeless. But of course, Assad views these people as his opponents. So that.
Well, yeah, he's Bashar the Butcher, of course.
Isn't it lovely to have them as a permanent member of the UN Security Council? Good old Russia.
Yeah. Been a pain in the butt since 1945. We can
have aid in the country, but it's got to go through my buddy Bashar al-Assad. Bashar al-Assad. If it goes through anybody else, it's fake news. It's illegitimate.
Fake news, dude.
That's what just happened at the UN today.
There we are.
This is who we are? Oh, so you're concern alerts. Okay, cool.
Very concerned. Okay, you know, we got off easy last episode.
Oh,
I gotta be quite honest with you.
Oh no,
We
you're about to bring in the bootleg.
off easy.
Oh no.
Yeah, we're gonna need to play another bootlicker alert, I'm thinking.
Uh-oh.
Oh dear.
Oh god.
Title of this video is CIA Psycho Argues to Bomb Iran for Diplomacy. And no,
so Fox
I haven't
News
seen this video.
is continuing to do Fox News things. They invited on somebody who worked at the CIA, and they
Spooky.
Not the
Spooky.
CIA, no.
Spooky.
Anyone, I mean, they're trying to do a color revolution right now. That's what I heard. I heard that they were trying to do a color revolution in Cuba and in Haiti. I mean, these guys, they never get a rest.
they asked this guy questions on foreign policy as if he's just, you know, an objective, neutral expert.
As if you're an objective, neutral critic, Kyle.
Yeah, so why would they ask somebody who worked for the CIA about for his foreign policy expertise?
It seems
that's kind of amazing. Like, you have a side, man. You work for the US government.
It's also like, it seems like that would be one of the first places that you'd try to get somebody to talk about that. Seems like they might be a reputable source. Seems like they may know what they're talking about.
Not if you're a crypto commie like Kyle, though.
Crypto commie Kyle Kulinski, 4Ks.
I want to go ahead and show you here what this guy says, and this is his so-called expertise. Look at what he's advocating for.
Now, Dan, I also want to get your impact or your perspective on what was going on the Syrian border, because rockets have been flying and, you know, there have been some attacks, and I want to get your perspective on that.
So when the Trump administration launched that lethal strike against Iranian Quds Force commander Qasem Soleimani, we established escalation dominance over Iran. And what we're seeing right now is that doesn't transfer to the new Biden administration. We're seeing Iran testing us by using their proxy militias to launch attacks on our troops in Dar ez-Zor in Syria. Iran wants us out of the region, and that's why they're doing this. And we've gone back now to being in a position where we really need to establish this escalation dominance. And the Biden administration responded with a proportional kinetic strike, which killed reportedly 4 proxy militia members. But at the same time, I don't think that this is the end. I think we're going to continue to see these tit-for-tat attacks again until we establish some sort of a dominant position in this relationship with Iran. And that has to happen concurrently with whatever diplomatic negotiations are taking place. If we're not strong against Iran, there will be no opportunity for diplomacy.
Based in Hawk build.
There's that. The only thing I disagree with is wanting the diplomacy to begin with.
Well, yeah, and that too. It's like, wait, dominance. Why not just get rid of the regime? But okay, this is better than what we got now. So,
like this is kind of the, you know, basically this is going to be the most hawk-pilled perspective you hear on television for the most part.
Oh yeah, this is the mainstream media.
This is think tank hawkery. So you kind of have to take the good with the bad a little bit. But yeah, no, I mean, if it came down to it, gun to my head, what would you prefer? You know, diplomacy with Iran is inevitable. Would you prefer for them to go into the diplomacy as is, or would you prefer to them to go into the negotiations with a little bit of an edge, with Iran being subservient and quivering in fear a little bit, and knowing that they can't fuck around with this kind of shit, understanding that there are legitimate consequences to the actions that they have brought against the United States. I'm going to go for the latter.
Great.
But again, I think that they should avoid those negotiations. And I have a feeling that we're not going to get a repeat of killing Soleimani anytime soon. That's just not on the cards. What we're going to get is this. We're going to get more violence being invited on us because, for the most part, the policy there it's weak. It's very weak-willed. It's very mild. It's nothing that really puts fear into the hearts of the Iranian regime. And that's why they feel like they can get away with attacks against us. And
Yes,
I mean, they just, they're not unaware of what's happening with the United States, what's happening in the rest of the world. They just saw Joe Biden pull out of Afghanistan. So their thought process, I could almost guarantee you, is this. Let's wear him down. Let's wear him down in Iraq and Syria. Nothing too major, but let's just wear him down to the point that he wants to leave. He wants nothing to do with this. And he's not going to make any big move against us anytime soon because we've seen his political will on display in other nations. Well, let's hear what Kyle has to say. Oh, boy.
Yeah, let's see what Kyle's up to.
Oh, no.
Wow. That is
Wowzers.
Wow. That's so crazy, right? It's so crazy that if you're going to go do negotiations, you might want to negotiate from a fucking position of strength. You know what? I can understand why that'd be a wow moment if you're a fucking loser who doesn't take any kind of pride in strength and who in fact values weakness and capitulation.
psychopathic. Okay, so let's
psychopathic. Does he even know what that means?
Dude.
Man, it can never just be, I disagree. It can never just be like, okay, I heard his take, here's my take. I disagree with this. No, it's always, wow, that was psychopathic.
Wowzers. So this is Bolton's response to it. Just like, that's stupid, kiddo.
What you smoking, son?
He's 35.
Kyle, you're 35.
I love how he tries to make it sound intellectual to say,
oh, thinking is hard for Kyle. Small brain Kyle trying to keep up.
Bomb them more. Kill more people. He says, the previous administration...
that's one way to put it. Bomb them more, kill more people. You mean retaliate justifiably against the people who attacked you. That is intelligent. That is the quintessential example of intelligence. You know why you should do that? Because if you don't, those same people, plus more, are going to show up and attack you again and again and again. They're not going to be dissuaded. And their attacks will become more violent, more extreme. There you go. Oh, but apparently that makes you caveman. Caveman do violence.
Dude. This is Kremlin Kyle right here.
Kremlin cow.
Escalation dominance. Established escalation dominance.
Well, yeah, right now Iran has that. So it's a thing. Would you rather have it or they have it? Kyle would be like, well, why not them? They're anti-imperialism, bro.
That's right up there with taking issue with someone saying Islamofascism.
Oh, God. Yeah, Kevin, he says he's like Islam is fascist. But like I was based in high school.
Who says that? That's cringe.
That's cringe. Like I was based in high school. Like it was based.
Based on what?
Dude. I mean, again, imagine living in Southern Oregon and wanting to kill dogs.
That would be unfortunate.
Yeah.
Is how he's describing the illegal and unconstitutional murdering of a foreign
Wrong.
Dude. Hysterical.
Murder.
Okay.
Who was murdered? It was in the billiard room. Qasem Soleimani was murdered. by a Tomahawk missile. Unbelievable, man. He's a victim of murder. We're kind of in a war with them, Kyle. That would be like saying you murdered Osama bin Laden. I don't even want to know what he's had to say about that. He probably had a shit take back then too that I luckily avoided.
Yes, we could do at some point. We could do a classic Kremlin Kyle flashback.
Oh,
triple
save
K.
it. Save it for episode 50.
Yeah, and it'll be like Bin Laden, and he'll be like, they murdered him.
But is it different? Because Osama bin Laden was seen as a terrorist, but Qasem Soleimani, he was a distinguished military official.
That's right. He wore a suit.
Yeah, he wore a suit. So therefore it's murder. And unconstitutional? No. Even illegal under international law? No.
No.
So you're wrong on both accounts. And even if it was in both of those cases, I would still support it. You know why? Because I'm not some I almost said something bad there. I'm not some legal dude.
Oh, right. Right.
I'm not some neoliberal liberal internationalist person who's obsessed with legality and the legal framework. I support foreign policy vigilantism. If we can work, if the laws, if we can make them work for the benefit of our security, absolutely use them, abide by them. If not, what you do is you ask for forgiveness instead of permission. That's the rule.
Based and Hawkbill, based. We got the whole posse here tonight.
Oh, I didn't they can just go before Congress. Oh, so listen, you're telling me that killing Soleimani was illegal. Look, I don't know what to tell you, but we can't unkill him. He's done, son.
Oh yeah, he dead. He dead.
He gone, boy.
Dude.
General and military leader.
It's like that. It's like that episode. It's like that episode of Family Guy where where he goes to try to see Colonel Sanders, and there's this one dude who's just like, "Oh yeah, he dead.
He did.
He did."
I almost forgot. Kyle's just absolutely sickening, fawning and masturbating over Soleimani. It's one of the grossest things he's ever said, honestly.
Oh yeah, it's disgusting. It's an embarrassment.
He fought ISIS, man.
He's 35.
You wouldn't be able to tell.
I mean, that's like something that an edgy 14-year-old would do in high school. Like, oh yeah? Well, screw my dad, man. I'm going to say with Soleimani, we're the real enemy. This guy's 35. He never got
only
over
if only if you're based in high school.
Kyle wasn't based in high school.
He had a fro. That's something.
He had some cringy tweets.
He was hungry.
Hungry.
An unconstitutional murdering of a foreign general and military leader.
Dude.
He casually describes it in a surgical way, as if it's
Well, yeah, it was a surgical strike. It wasn't like some indiscriminate carpet bomb all of Baghdad and hope you get him sort of thing. So
I mean, what's he supposed to say? Yeah, what the CIA guy said, totally accurate. Totally accurate. To be like, yeah, this was us establishing escalation dominance. And Kyle's like, oh, that's too surgical. That's too surgical. How about you failed to mention that you killed a man? You murdered a man. He was a top general. It's like, are we just not allowed to have any professionalism in our speech at all anymore? We have to use small words for Kyle's benefit. We killed a man. He gone. There you go. That would have been acceptable.
He's done, son.
This is intellectual. Puts an intellectual veneer over the illegal assassination of a foreign military leader.
You mean the based and hawk-pilled strike on Soleimani?
There's no need to put a veneer. It was objectively an intelligent thing to do. Here's the thing. Even if you don't agree with, U.S. national security interests, you could do a little steel manning and say, well, from the U.S. perspective, this was a good thing to do. That would require a bit of honor and a bit of integrity. Like we wouldn't we wouldn't do that in reverse. Like we wouldn't do that in reverse. Like take Iran and take all the terrorism that the state promotes. We're not going to say, "Oh, that's stupid. Wow, how stupid of them to do the one thing that keeps their illegitimate regime afloat. How dumb." But Kyle's that guy. Kyle's the kind of guy where if he doesn't like something, he just calls it stupid. Actually, it wasn't a stupid thing to do. It's not stupid to take out the main guy orchestrating attacks against you and your forces on the ground. Some people might call that smart. Some people might call that a tactical victory. Oh, but it was stupid. Oh. How dare he try to intellectualize it?
No, it was actually stupid. Stupid
and illegal. Don't forget that. Very illegal.
Stupid dirt.
Grand Lantern Corps did not appreciate it.
He established escalation dominance by violating international law and U.S. law and illegally killing.
What U.S. law? What international law?
He never cites those ever, as far as I can remember.
Like which statute of the law?
Of the law. It's like Judge Dredd. I am the law.
Yeah, and Kyle's like, I am the law.
The law. I agree. Now he always just throws out vague, like, "Oh, it violated the law." Really? Care to dive deeper than that? No, I don't feel like it today. Okay, fair enough.
And massively escalating with Iran over the killing of Qasem Soleimani. So,
escalating. Wait a minute, Kyle. It's called contradicting yourself. So, would you say if we escalated with Iran, that we we achieved escalation dominance?
Uh-oh.
That's kind of the point. See, the CIA guy didn't deny that we were escalating with Iran. That's the point. We don't deny that escalated things with Iran. We want to escalate things with Iran. And Kyle's like, yeah, this guy says that we established escalation dominance, but when we kill Soleimani, we got more escalated with Iran. Like, what are you even talking about? Like, what a pointless. This in the long time, this stands to me as one of the most pointless videos he's made. This is just ridiculous. How can you? What are you even trying to say? What are you trying to say? We are all in agreement that escalated things with Iran. That's the point. That's the point. You don't just kill a nation's top general and then you call up Iran the next week and like, hey, how's it going? Unbelievable, man. And I would see it as tensions escalating was more of an inevitable outcome. But at the same time, there is a level of deterrence here as well. That's what you do. You top them when it comes to escalation So they have a more difficult time building up to the point where they can escalate against you successfully. You see that? You see why that might be intelligent?
No, that's stupid. Stupider.
Yeah, so stupid to, proactively prevent attacks against your forces and your interests on the ground and your embassies and all that. Very stupid. Who would even think of doing something like that?
He flipped everything on its head. He's like, we killed Qasem Soleimani, so that was good under Trump. Now that these guys are retaliating, the problem is you didn't kill enough of them. You honestly think the more people we kill, the less they're going to want to retaliate?
Well, yeah, if you take out the regime, they can't retaliate. It's like that meme. It's like that meme I made. It's like, what was it? Completely destroying the enemy's ability to retaliate. And it's the Ivy Mike mushroom cloud in the background. And it just says, hashtag just nuke build things. I'm not saying nuke them, but, that Chad energy right there. Oh, I have it in here. That's the meme. Like, what are they going to do? They did. They did. How is a dead corpse going to retaliate?
Yeah, it's almost like eventually you run out of people or you run out of money. It's almost like if you retaliate and you take out certain militants, those militants can't do any more attacks against you. What about Soleimani? Let's go back to Kyle's fucking hero who he's fawning over. Do you think Soleimani is going to be planning anything against the United States anytime soon? No. He's busy feeding the worms right about now. He's done.
The worm is feeding.
The worm is feeding.
I was bathed in high school.
That's amazing. Like, Kyle is just, not only are his foreign policy takes bad, but he doesn't even understand basic math. Like, that's astounding to me.
No.
What you think? You think if you attack people more and more, that will prevent them from attacking you? Yes. That's how it works. That's actually how you win a war. What do you think that was the concern when people were involved in any war ever? Where they said, well, we keep, no matter how many guys we kill, it seems like more and more keep coming. It's like, well, yeah, that's blowback. You got to stop. You're just making them more angry. It's like, yeah, or they're going to be, what, you want them, they're already angry. So what, you just want them to roll over us? No. What you do is you keep that up. You keep taking out militants, especially if it looks like they're positioned to attack you, or they've just previously attacked you, and you have to retaliate. The goal would be to take out the regime completely, which isn't even what's being advocated for here in that clip. That clip was definitively in favor of the negotiations. It just wanted the negotiations to happen from a stronger vantage point. That's amazing.
Oh, wow. StreamYard screwed up for the first time tonight. It's been getting better.
It had to happen at some point.
The more people we kill, the...
Come on.
Come on, man.
He's malfunctioning, dude.
less they're going to want to retaliate? How dumb are you? By the way, ain't no escalation dominance, bitch. As soon as we killed Qasem Soleimani, they were immediately attacked right after. So there were attacks right after. The attacks are continuing now because when you kill the commander...
He acts as though they weren't attacking America before America took out Soleimani. He's so disingenuous.
Yeah, we took out Soleimani because of those attacks. So, but there were attacks after, so you disproved the point. Not really, not really at all. Here's the thing. How about this? How about this for a compromise? The attacks are inevitable, so do everything in your power to weaken their strategy and their armaments. How about that? The attacks are inevitable. So do everything in your power to prevent them from having weaponry. Do everything in your power to sabotage their positions. And if you can, if you get lucky, take out their top general. We'll see how their attacks after that play out.
Of a hostile military or group of fighters, they don't tend to react kindly to that. So he also goes on to say Iran is attacking us through their proxies. I don't think Iran has direct control of all these various fighting forces, the Shia militias in Iraq.
Wait. But that's wrong. Bro. They do. But they do, though. They literally do. How does he not know that? Like, if you were going to be Kyle, you could say, well, yeah, they control them, but they're fighting American imperialism. But he denies that they have control over them. Dude.
I mean, I guess they don't have them on puppet strings. So technically they're different
people. They're not all the Ayatollah. They're different people. They're not conjoined.
They all have their own lived experience. Some of them might defect, man. I mean,
they all have their own driver's licenses.
They all have their own perspective, and every perspective is valid.
They all have their own money.
That was funny though. He did just admit that Iran is a hostile nation.
Yeah.
That feels like a Freudian slip more than anything.
Oh yeah, Kyle has a lot of those actually. And I guess it comes with the territory of having 16,000 videos uploaded.
Which are basically one video, but whatever.
Hezbollah, I don't think they have direct control of all of them. I think that those groups on their own want to attack the United States, and one of the reasons they want to attack the United States is because we killed Qasem Soleimani.
That face.
Well, I imagine they wouldn't take kindly to it, but there's a big difference between understanding the enemy's motivation and being an active sympathizer of their goals. Kyle is the latter. That's why that's a problem. The reason why that's a problem is because Kyle supports the same thing that Hezbollah does. Kyle supports what Hamas does. He supports what the Houthis does as well. So it doesn't help his case one bit. Oh no, they were upset that we killed Soleimani. Oh no. Okay, so go back to what I said. These attacks against us from groups that are extremely hostile to us, before and after, mind you, are going to continue. So lessen their ability to coordinate those attacks. Oh, but apparently it's a problem. Oh, that's the real provocation. You're escalating tensions, man. Even though the CIA guy said that was the point. But he doesn't understand the second part of that. The point was to escalate tensions to the point that it would act as a severe deterrent and a way as preventing successful attacks against us in the future. You take out their top tactician, you don't think that's going to have an effect on their war strategy against us?
Dude.
I think we need a certain alert.
We need a circusy alert right now. Hold on a second.
Whoa.
Dude, he's just like, and I present to you the circus of political commentary.
The circus of cringe.
He's also losing subs, which is hilarious. This is
the Gymoids don't like him very much.
The Gymoids are making fun of him and calling him an imperialist, and the Jankoids are making videos about him right now. And TYT made a video about him that was critical of him. So
Oh
He
yeah,
said,
we almost forgot to mention, but that came out. That was revealed today by Stephen Michael Davis, who's coming on to your channel tomorrow for a chat
yes,
about
we're
all this
interviewing him
nonsense.
tomorrow in 9 hours from now. 9 hours and 2 minutes from now. Stay tuned. 9 a.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Central.
Yeah,
Or
he
11
posted.
a.m. Central.
Yeah, pretty early. But he posted a clip where it was revealed that Kyle is no longer affiliated with TYT. He quit.
Yes. He quit. No, and I like this comment from NATO Enjoyer. Remember how after we took out Soleimani, Iran retaliated by shooting down a commercial airliner? That's right. There were Canadians aboard it, a lot of Ukrainians aboard it, and the world just let it go. Did nothing.
Oh, people in the moment, people did apologetics. I remember very distinctly. They were saying, "Well, put yourself in their shoes. They see any airplane over them and they panicked, man. They panicked." And it's like, yeah, that wouldn't happen here. That's a completely irresponsible response to anything that's going on. And they killed many innocent people. But apparently we're just supposed to brush it under the rug like it never happened. There's been no punishment for that.
No, there's been nothing.
No one held to account.
Nothing, seriously. And
no Kiwis even.
Oh, no Kiwis. Unfortunately, this is another instance where the United States and the West at large don't really care when civilians are murdered by a regime like this. Even if they're Westerners. It literally doesn't matter. We're like, oh, but people would die in a war. They've been killing people left and right for 40 years. Soleimani had about 400,000 people that he was responsible for overseeing the deaths of. But we're supposed to let this go on for hundreds, thousands of years, millions, tens of millions of deaths over millennia because we can't get it together to do a quick war to take out the regime. That's so lame. Same thing with North Korea. Do a quick war, be done with it in a few months, and be done forever. But instead, we're going to let them blackmail us with nukes for millions of years. Are you fucking kidding me? Well, they run the worst regime in human history to their people for millions of years. Because what are we going to do? They're going to have thousands of nukes eventually, and then people are going to make that argument, and then they'll have more of a point than they do now. So you take them out before they get a ton of nukes. Iran's trying to get nukes. Cal would say it's stupid that they're trying to get nukes. I'm like, no, it's smart. If I was the Ayatollah, I'd be racing to get nukes.
I mean,
Apparently
it's amazing. He just gets everything wrong. The causation, it's all wrong. Then, by the way,
no, you, Kyle. No, you, Kyle.
he gets the causation wrong. Because he didn't blame America. Oh, that's right. Yeah, this is really all the fault of America.
Yeah, like Nick Fuentes and the whole posse. 12 men in his room in America.
The whole posse is here to blame America, man. America last.
Yeah.
Actually, Kyle's America first. He's first to blame them for everything.
Yes. Imagine somebody comes in here and they're like, Kevin, why are you streaming with Nick Fuentes right now? I thought you guys didn't like it.
At first, he says we need to establish escalation dominance.
We had him on
the
show,
them.
So really,
that's right.
Biden bombed Shia militias, killed 4 people. By the way, it's more than 4 people. There's at least 7 who died, and one of them was a kid. By the way.
Oh my God!
That was fake news.
Fake news.
That was he even said it in the last video, I believe, that we watched from him, that this is being reported by Syrian state media.
That's right.
Yeah, it was only reported by Syrian state media.
That's right. So lame.
That's a good face.
One of them was a kid. This is according to Syrian media, but hey, I mean,
yeah, I just had to take a moment to snip it for a future thumbnail. Actually, this is a good thumbnail too for like highlight clips and Kyle in the future. So
we got to go back a second. Listen to what he's about to admit to you. This is freaking ridiculous. Sorry, flipping.
Wait. We can't use gamer words on this channel. It's flipping.
Let's flipping go.
Yeah. Let's go. Let's flip and go.
Biden bomb.
This is based. We got the whole posse.
We got the
Shia
whole
militias.
posse.
StreamYard is based.
Incorrect.
Where is StreamYard?
StreamYards, let's flip and go.
Let's go. This is what real American patriots look like.
It's just the face of Kyle.
No, that's another one. Oh, good.
He looks really high.
Yeah, no, StreamYard's really having a tough time.
4 people. It's, by the way, it's more than 4 people. There's at least 7 who died, and one of them was a kid, by the way. One of them was a kid. This is according to Syrian media, but hey, I mean, U.S. media is biased in our direction.
Wait. What did he just say? No, man.
One of them was a kid. This is according to Syrian media, but hey, I mean.
Oh, dude. Yeah, it's like this is according to Nazi propaganda, but like, okay, dude. Wait,
we all have our own biases.
He looks like somebody just did something very distressing. Like, what are you doing, man? Come on, man. That's some malarkey, man. What is this?
That would be us completely eviscerating him and his style of argumentation.
Dude, he's getting nuked tonight.
Ouch.
Yes. Ouch. We need to get like a soundboard of Duke Nukem saying, ouch. You know?
You're
It's
done,
like,
son.
I came here to kick ass and chew bubble gum, and I'm all out of gum. You know, there's like that that clip of him.
That's right.
U.S. media is biased in our direction.
Okay, so just to highlight to the audience what's going on right about now, you're listening to a false equivalence between Syrian state media and American media, which is not tied to the state at all. Which actually has some level of independence and autonomy that journalists in repressed countries could only dream of. But we all have our own perspectives. So he's saying that. So already he's doing he's carrying water for repressive regimes already with that. But then he takes it one step further. Which narrative did Kyle side with? Which story he could have? Okay, here's what the U.S. media reports, which by the way they did report on that. They just said, hey, the only source we have for this is Syrian state media. That's what they said about that. They didn't even necessarily come out and say, well, it's wrong because the Syrian state media. No, that's what we're saying. That's not what MSNBC said, for example. They pointed out that claim was made by Syrian state media. Which narrative does Kyle go with? Does he go with the American narrative? Or does he go with the Syrian narrative? Ooh, goes with the latter. I wonder why. I mean, because it's weird, right? You know, like wouldn't you just leave things up in the air? He's clearly biased toward, even though he's trying to tell you this is what it looks like. This is why people don't like Kyle, even in the progressive camp right about now. Because he likes to do both sides-isms. But he clearly has a side. He clearly has a side. And when it came down to it, when it came picking between TYT and Jimmy Dore, he was more firmly on Team TYT until he decided to quit because he didn't want the drams.
Them drams, man.
Syrian media might be biased in the Syrian direction. What do I think the truth is? I don't know, but I tend to think it wasn't just, precision.
see,
there you go. He just admitted you were right. To Kyle, you just admitted Reece was right.
I mean, what can I say? I have a gift. You see enough of these videos, you know what he's going to say. Yeah, that's absurd. That's absolutely absurd. He believes Even though he just said, "Oh, I don't know what to believe, but do I believe this was a precision strike?" No. You don't believe this was a precision strike. Oh, okay, fine. It was carpet bombing. How about that? What's the alternative? Unbelievable, man.
Bombings that only killed bad guys or whatever. And by the way, it's illegal that we're there in the first place, so you're not allowed to do those.
It
not
feels like
allowed
we
to.
watch the same video every week. He always says that.
He's an international law guardian. He upkeeps the law, man. I don't know what to tell you. The LOL.
He's the guardian of the law.
The guardian of the cringe.
Those bombings, and we weren't defending from an imminent attack, even though they pretend otherwise and said, "Oh, they attacked our, a base we had, and 0 people died." And those attacks were again retaliatory for.
Oh my god! Because it's not an act of war unless you kill people.
That's amazing.
It's not murder. It's not attempted murder unless you kill the guy.
That's what so you can't retaliate. It wasn't responding to imminent danger. It happened after. I mean,
like my client stands accused today of attempted murder, the crime of attempted murder, and I am here to present to you in clear-cut evidence, not even debatable, that my client is innocent. In fact, I can prove that my client is innocent. The alleged target is alive right here in the courtroom. How can you charge him with attempted murder when the guy that he tried to kill is still alive? Think about it. That would be Kyle in
doesn't count.
Lao school.
But you see, Kevin, that they only did that. So another clear-cut example of terrorist apologia. But they were retaliating against our killing of militants and Qasem Soleimani.
Yeah.
When does it stop? It's almost like if you go back far enough, you'll find that the regime is responsible for all of this. That the regime is in fact illegitimate.
It looks kind of confused and dazed and kind of dumb and clueless.
How? He said all this before.
He looks kind of like Vadim Newquist here. Like if you ever seen like Vadim Newquist, he has that kind of just like kind of look going on, Wait, what do you think of Vadim Newquist, Reece?
Not a fan.
Not a fan. Not much a fan here either. I remember I talked with him once on Twitter, but I forget what we talked about. He had an issue with one of my foreign policy takes once. Very recall.
Oh, color me shocked. Color revolution me shocked, in fact.
Yeah, so it turns out he's not actually hawkish, so that's kind of annoying. Okay.
People died, and those attacks were again retaliatory for the Qasem Soleimani thing. So anyway, I digress. Biden killed some of their people, and he bombed them, and this guy's like, see, the problem is you didn't establish escalation dominance enough. You needed to kill more of them.
Yes. Yeah, that's... yes, there it is. Yes.
Do an active attack on the regime and take out some of their nuclear capability. How about that? How about that sends a little bit of a message? Oh no, that'd be spooky. It'd be imperialism. Then you'd have to do a regime change war, man.
Regime change war, man.
That guy was totally on the money, except for supporting diplomacy at the end. Because what he's saying, we are stuck in this cycle right about now, where, obviously, if we're attacked, I want there to be some form of retaliation. Of course. But do you want to be stuck in an endless cycle of that? Like, that's an endless war right there. You know how you prevent that from being an endless war? You take out the regime that actively orders and funds those groups that are attacking you. Oh, but Kyle said he doesn't think the regime has direct control over them. whatever that means. That would be like if someone hired a hitman to kill you, and then Kyle came and he peeked in around the corner and he said, I don't think that hitman is controlled by the buyer. I think that he has a mind of his own. I think he has a family. I think he has a lived experience and a perspective all his own, totally unique. How can you say he's controlled by the buyer? Well, right now, he's doing a job that he was paid to do. He was given a gun by the buyer too. Oh no, okay.
That's
Good Lord.
overconfident. By the way,
Like,
we're only just over halfway through this. So.
Oh, okay.
Or a more important one of them. This is psycho, man. This is psycho. He's like, we need
No, you.
Psycho. Yeah,
No,
this
you.
is so psycho. What, to want to take out your enemy? It's so psycho to suggest, okay, we're involved in this tit for tat war with this nation. Do we want that? Do we want to be in this constant position where instead of being on the offensive, we're on the defensive? We're just roaming around doing our security business, addressing other threats in the region coming from like ISIS and such, and then we get attacked. Our personnel get attacked, our assets get attacked, and then we have to retaliate. Or we recognize the situation for what it is, we go on the offensive, and we give the Iranians something to remember us by. How about that? Oh no, but that makes you a psycho. Oh no. Kyle called me names. How will we ever get past that, man?
He called you a cycle.
I feel like I'm in a cycle listening to this doofus.
to be strong. That's what we need to do. So in other words, keep bombing, keep bombing.
Yeah.
He's
I love
advocating
how
for
he
direct.
tries to represent that. Like he always tries to represent it as like Neanderthal. You have to be strong, too strong.
Whereas Kyle would say, no, actually, you have to be weak. I am very smart.
Yeah, it's almost like if you're engaged in a war with a nation, you might want to be the stronger side. Just I know it's an idea that not a whole lot of people have thought of before. Sun Tzu didn't get to it yet, but look, that's your free bit of advice for the day. All the generals out there, you know, I know you're busy handing out critical race theory books, but maybe you could hand out a few of my quotes, and then some Dave Rubin quotes while you're at it too, just in case, just so people understand the real message people should be getting in their noggins right about now. You know, if you're doing a war, you might want to be strong, and then you have this guy on the sidelines mocking that, like, oh yeah, oh that's so crazy to do a strong response. You have your personnel being actively attacked on a semi-consistent basis, semi-regular. This isn't something that just, oh, we never saw this coming. No, it's happening all the time. So you might want to do something big to really keep them off your back. Or at the very least, if you understand that that's going to be the inevitable situation, you take out their leadership. Just like we did with Soleimani. So that it's harder for them to coordinate attacks on you in the future. Or if you want to be really based and hawk-pilled, you find the source of the problem and you completely eradicate it. And then you don't have to worry about that at all. And then you can conduct your mission against ISIS in relative peace. Oh, but no, that would be crazy. That'd be psycho, man. Who would think of something like that?
Bombing Iran here, basically. You know what? Biden's already bombed the Shia militias. Biden's already bombed the proxies for Iran. Now you're saying basically bomb Iran or kill another top commander, top military leader, or whatever.
Yes.
And then he says, "Oh, in order to do that's how."
Based, yes, based.
That's the idea.
Yes, based.
Oh my God. Like, imagine being someone who would find this video compelling. Imagine sitting there and be like, they want to do what? They want to bomb Iran? What did Iran ever do? No, that's a sovereign nation. No, you can't, you guys, you can't attack Iran. No, it's crazy. You're psychos, you're imperialists. Yeah, let's just sit by, man. Let's let them build up a nuclear arsenal. And then people are going to be like, oh, actually, maybe they're like pulling their shirts away from their neck a little bit. Oh, maybe we should attack them. It's like, well, okay, I guess you could try, but it's going to be harder. Maybe you should have listened. Maybe you should have shut your big mouths a couple years ago and listened.
You do that concurrently with like peace negotiations. You think somebody's going to be willing to agree to some sort of deal as we are actively murdering some of their top leaders? Does that make it more likely or less likely that there's going to be a peace deal? Of course it makes it less likely. Of course it makes it less likely. But that's the thing.
We're willing to negotiate. We're willing to negotiate while our people are being killed. So, and I mean, and even them like are to a degree, but they obviously would want a deal that heavily favors them, like they got in 2015.
For sure.
Like they wouldn't care. Like if they got some really sweet deal, do you think they're going to bring up Soleimani? No, they're going to be like, "Hey, here's my sweet deal." Like that's kind of crazy. Like, how do you think countries that are at odds like these two, usually come to the table? What we have with Iran is tame. It's not like what the kind of deals that we made with Germany following the world wars, or with Japan. Like we were able to do diplomacy then. We were able to do diplomacy after we hit a country with 2 nuclear bombs. Oh, but we can't do diplomacy. We couldn't get them to come to the table to do negotiations if we killed one of their top leaders. Yeah, about that. Like, what do you even say to that? That's just incorrect. That is so incorrect.
Bullshit. This is all CIA bullshit. They just want to overthrow the Iranian government. That's what.
Yes.
Yes.
That's bullshit. Apparently, it's actually good. That'd actually be a good thing for the world, Kyle. It would actually be one of the most amazing things that's ever happened in human history.
Yes.
Oh, but no, it's spooky. Like that's that's kind of astounding to be like, oh, this is all the CIA wants. Well, yeah. Who are you talking to? Like, that's kind of their point. Oh my God,
the CIA, they want to spread freedom. The CIA only wants one thing, and it's disgusting, and it's like it's a liberated, prosperous, and free Iran.
Extremely disgusting,
bro. I mean, when you even say that.
It's like he's like leaning over to somebody. Guys, I think they might want to topple Iran.
And they're just like, yes.
You just figured that out, bud? Okay.
They want to do. That's what they want to do. So, I mean, we've gone through this a million times, but guys, it was the United States that violated the Iran nuclear agreement. We violated the nuclear agreement. We pulled out of it. We put sanctions.
Dude.
I like how you started it off with, guys, we've been through this a million times. Oh, yeah. I know. I'm feeling it. We've been there for a lot of it. We know. Oh no. Yeah, we pulled out. We violated. It's not like we pulled out specifically because we were citing violations done by them. So it's like, why stay in the deal? Why handicap ourselves with the deal when it's not even going to be abided by? That is an objective fact. This isn't a matter of like, oh, well, if your politics lean one way or another. No. an objective fact that we have gone over a million times. That's astounding. Like, why does he think? Why does he think we pulled out? Oh, just cause we wanted to shake it up a little bit. We just wanted to make things interesting, man.
Yeah, new meme.
No, it was to do a regime change war.
Regime change war, man.
The deal, barring violations that were plenty, the deal was garbage from the ground up. The deal, why do you think the Iranians got involved in the deal? Because it favored them. It favored a long-term strategy for them. And it got a lot of pressure off their backs, freed up some assets, got the world to look away from their human rights abuses, got the world to look away from their funding of terror proxies. The Iranians were all over that. You should be very skeptical of a deal that your enemy would actively join and would lament you leaving when they weren't fully defeated. There's a mantra that people can live by. This isn't like making a deal with Japan after you nuke them and they surrender. Not at all. Because we have not defeated Iran as of yet. Oh, and they love that deal.
Yeah. No, exactly. Exactly. I mean, anybody who's watching this, like if you're a fan of Kyle, you have to know, you have to be honest and say, yes, he supports Iran over America. Don't try to gaslight us. So.
On them when all we had to do was not put sanctions on them and give them back their own money. That's all we had to do under the deal. And
oh my God.
He doesn't understand the basics. The deal didn't even prevent all sanctions. Oh, and give back their money. So again, another case of, hey, you see this repressive regime? Well, how about you be complicit in enriching them for me? Because if you don't, oh, then you're the problem. And then any economic turmoil in the country, we can blame on you, right? Right? Oh, look at all these sanctions. They're crippling Iran. They can't even get medicine. Yeah, the sanctions specifically don't ban medicine, but okay. Oh,
What
but
do
we're
you
still
expect
having
me to
problems.
do? What do you expect me to do? Read the entire deal? It's 150 pages.
That is the tired cycle of we sanction a nation for their repression and the persecution of the people and their treatment of just everyone and the horrible state of things on the ground. And then anytime things go wrong in the country, or rather anytime that the world actually decides to care and conveniently start their timeline after the sanctions are in place, they blame the West. How can you do this? The people are suffering. We know. That's the point of the sanctions. Because we don't believe that a government that treats its people like that should just be allowed to participate in the global economy like any other government. Oh, but apparently we're the problem. Of course. Got to give them their money, man. I'm sure they spent it wisely. I'm sure they spent it on school books and vaccines, bouquets, just wonderful things. That's what they're all about over there. Probably some roads, filled a few potholes. How about their Medicare for all? How about that? Is that where they spent the money?
Yeah, and then don't forget some rockets that they gave to Hamas too. What about those? And
that
like
was,
school computers.
Yeah, that was
and AK-47s and medicine.
Yeah,
and care packages and grenades.
let's just call them care packages. Yeah, they spent the money on care packages. Oh, it's very interesting. What was in the care packages?
Grenades.
Splodies.
Splodes, bro. Just cooking up some splodes, bro. That's what they say. You're like, oh, it's cool. Here's $150 billion to cook up some more splodes. And Kyle's just like, no, why can't they have splodes? We have splodes.
It was their money, man.
It was their splodes, bro.
Yeah, we know it was their money. We didn't.
That's the point.
We didn't want them to have access to it. It's kind of like, what an amazing concept. You look at the world's lead sponsor of state terrorism and you say, you know, I think we should withhold funds from these guys. And then all these idiots come out of the woodwork. Oh, well, aren't you a capitalist? I mean, it's their money. Yeah, we know. We know. That doesn't mean that they should be allowed to have it. You see the difference?
You sound like a communist.
Thanks a lot to the gay country that took my money.
They took my money
on them.
No, he said happy 4th of July to the gay country that took my money and banned me from social media. That's what he tweeted out.
All we had to do was not put sanctions on them and give them back their own money. That's all we had to do under the deal. And according to the IAEA, the International Atomic Energy Agency, Iran was following the deal perfectly. They weren't violating it. They were doing everything right.
Not even according to them.
Oh my God.
You didn't understand the reports, and you also didn't understand how the deal did not indefinitely prohibit them acquiring a nuclear weapon. Oh, that's all we had to do. It's so simple, isn't it? So simple. You just had to give them their money and not sanction them, even though we still had sanctions on them. There were just specific sanctions that we couldn't engage in. That's how it goes.
And so they followed the deal. We broke the deal. And now what? You think they're going to negotiate with us like we're a good faith partner when we've already proven you can't fucking trust us?
You want to talk about good faith? They were the ones that violated it to begin with.
They're a rogue regime who are scrambling to get a nuclear arsenal right this second. Oh, but we're the ones who didn't come to the table in good faith. I mean, give me a break. Like how desperate do you have to be to cast the U.S. as the bad guys in this situation? Who does this fool? Besides the most brainless people in the world.
Kyle?
Well, he's one of the most brainless people in the world. He doesn't count.
Any deal we make is not worth the paper it's fucking written on. And you act
They'll
like,
join,
well, if
they
we
would
as,
totally
as,
join a deal.
Wait,
they would totally join a deal.
We just agreed with him. He said any deal you make isn't worth the paper it's written on. That's right.
Maybe we shouldn't make a deal. Kyle's accidentally hawk-pilled and base for once.
Yeah, base Kyle.
Maybe we shouldn't make a deal. Hey, Kyle Kulinski, you should join the Hawk Gang, mate. You should join the Hawk Gang, mate.
No, we can't work with Kyle. I'll never work with Kyle. He's never welcome me. He'll never be welcome as a neoconservative.
If you know, you know.
Yeah, if you know, you know. And if you don't, follow me on Twitter at Kevin Castley to stay up with the drams.
As long as we keep murdering a bunch of them while we're negotiating on peace with them, that'll definitely lead to better outcomes. No, son. The more we attack them,
you're done,
the more
son.
You're done, son. You're done, son.
They'll totally come to the table to negotiate with the United States. This is how it works. This is how the propaganda really works. They'll come to the table if you offer them a deal they can't possibly resist because it's just too good, like what they got in 2015. So if we have any kind of pushback in which we're promoting our own interests and we're working to dissuade them from their current activities, and condemning the treatment of their people and asking for more liberties there. Kyle's going to say, oh, look at that. See, can't you understand why Iran won't come to the table? They don't trust us, man. They think of the United States as a bad faith actor. So really, it's our fault. This is quintessential water carrying for Iran. And I'm so sick of it. And I'm so sick of anybody who would have the audacity to tell me that Kyle's not an Iranian apologist. Because every video of his on the topic is the same. Always manages to take Iran's perspective. I'm all for understanding how the other side thinks. But there's a very real distinction between that and sympathizing with them. I hope that people of intelligence can see that difference. Because it's becoming just utterly ridiculous, the kind of narratives that float out there. And the thing is, it's not just someone I disagree with on YouTube. This is a video made by a popular person. Yeah, he's losing a little bit of traction in his own camp right now, but that's not going to stop him. He's going to hop back on the horse. This is the kind of rhetoric that is going to be absolutely disastrous if they actually go through with the negotiations. Who knows what kind of concessions they can make in the next 4 years? And it's never going to be good enough. It won't be good enough until we capitulate to the will of the Islamic Republic and we stay out of their affairs indefinitely. It won't be good enough for people like Kyle until we also cease support for Saudi Arabia and Israel. And then finally, the United States, once it's completely bowed down to the will of Iran, will be an acceptable nation in the eyes of Kyle Kulinski. Only then.
Only then.
Is that worth it?
We're almost done. We got about 2 minutes to go. Let's try to get through this.
Okay. Kill them or commanders that are affiliated with them, the more it's going to lead to retaliatory strikes and a backlash effect, of course. And I haven't even mentioned the most obvious point, which is, guys, whether or not you like, dislike, agree, disagree with these people who were killing, they're the on-the-ground forces against ISIS.
Oh my God, dude, we went over this. They killed barely any ISIS fighters. It's America that killed most of the ISIS guys.
Yeah, so really, you should be telling that to them. You should go. You should go up to the militants and say, "Hey, like, however you feel about these Americans, you got to understand they're fighting ISIS."
That's right. Yeah.
As if fighting ISIS is a get out of jail free card.
Yeah.
That would be like if they didn't. Like if there was like some Dexter style serial killer, and they were like, "Well, I mean, he was, he's killed a lot of people. He also killed a bunch of serial killers, though."
Oh, yeah.
You think a court would be like, "Oh, well, fair enough."
Fair enough, right?
Yeah, there's gonna be no punishment for you, I'm sure.
Occupying Syria, we're jacking their oil, we're doing sanctions out the wazoo for them. We already used a bogus narrative in the first place when we wanted to go in there to topple Assad. There were all these
bogus narrative.
You're talking about Duma deception.
You're talking about the Duma deception, TM. Dude.
Bro. Like, he says so much in 0.2 seconds. I just can't, man. Yeah. I can't. He's talking about
we had to issue it again.
Yeah, that about covers that. Let's hear what he's talking about for Syria.
When we wanted to go in there to topple Assad, there were all these lies and ridiculous claims that have now proven to be false made about him gassing his own civilians, very similar to the weapons of mass destruction thing with Saddam Hussein.
Oh my God. Yeah, very similar. That's right. They both did it. So yes, I agree, Kyle. Similar. Yes, they both gassed civilians.
Now proven to be false.
Bro.
By who, mind you?
No, a disgruntled dude at the OPCW. So of course.
You mean the guy who wasn't even involved in the principal investigation?
No,
if
but like he likes Russia, so we should listen to him.
And then there was a guy, the other whistleblower, like worked at the post office in Syria. He didn't like the findings, so good for him. You know what? If people really want to know, Jaeger DePato, who we had on as a guest not too long ago, he uploaded a very thorough video recently about Duma, the quote-unquote Duma deception, and the reports, and what various people have said. The OPCW report, obviously, and the whistleblowers, them taking issue with it, despite the fact that they actually found evidence on the scene that was in favor of the narrative that obviously, this was an attack by the regime, a chemical attack by the regime. Even the fucking cucked United Nations agreed with that. Oh, but two dudes who had nothing to do with the investigation didn't agree with that. So therefore, according to Kyle, that's definitively proven wait a minute. Is he saying that the attack didn't happen, or the regime didn't do the attack? Those are two very different things. Unbelievable, man. Just war crime denial. Just happening in real time. No big deal.
Yes.
So, but this is what they say. This is on Fox News, the most watched news channel in the country. You have a guy from...
Wait, you don't get to do that with the quotes about news. Your theocracy talk, as Chris says.
Yeah, Kyle's here to tell you about some real news, man.
We got 1 minute left. Let's try to...
His version of news is just saying, oh yeah, that attack, that chemical attack in Syria, definitively proven to be false. It's like, wow, that's a really contrary narrative to what any other reputable source had to say. Do you have any evidence? No. Are you gonna bother giving any evidence? No. Oh well, sorry for asking.
Amazing.
The CIA basically saying we need escalation dominance, which means bomb them more. And then somehow that'll lead to more peace? Nonsense. You just want more war. And you want to overthrow that government and put in a...
Actually, we will stop it for 1 second. Jay just told me he's been watching the show. He said, just read the chat back. That's right. You want Kremlin Kyle to join the humanitarian interventionist movement? What a laugh. I wouldn't touch that fifth column with a 39.5-foot pole. I'd sooner hug a cactus than welcome that Ayatollah shill in the movement. Yeah, that's called The Joke, Your Head with La Reddit GIF. So
Jay is wonderful.
I love how much Jay lives rent free in these people's heads, like, because he does barely anything to actually induce that degree of rage as well. He just posts like pictures of himself having like coffee, or I'm
brunch.
The captain now memes, or brunch, or he calls people fascists. He doesn't do videos, he doesn't do streams or anything, and yet they'll specifically name him as the one who cannot be negotiated with. It's amazing.
The provocateur.
Yes, he's persona non grata of the religioids and the conservatoids of Twitter. So
many oids.
Yes, the oids.
The oid.
We watched Luna Oid earlier, so
Okay, now that's her official name now.
Yes.
Lunaoid.
Lunoid. Yeah, Lunaoid.
U.S. puppet, just like what was done with the Shah back in the day.
Whoa, wait a minute. Hold on. We gotta bring him back a minute. What's he even talking about? It's about to get crazy.
Wow, yeah.
Throw that government and put in a U.S. puppet, just like what was done with the Shah back in the day. In
So that's not what they were advocating for. No, 1953.
Wait, did he say
no.
54? 53? Wait.
No, he said 53. He said 53.
Okay.
But
back in
you said advocating for. He said 53. I thought he said 54 because you said 4.
If he's going to remember any year, it's going to be 1953.
No, it's going to be Bloody Monday.
I can't stress that the CIA guy on Fox News was not at all actually advocating for regime change in Iran. But apparently he was. We can just put words in people's mouths now. It's kind of amazing. He wasn't advocating for that. He was actually, I disagree with what he was advocating for. He was advocating for going into the negotiations from a stronger vantage point. Now, obviously, I support that over what they're currently doing, which is jack shit. Oh, some bare minimum retaliation. But he was not advocating for... He was not advocating for switching up the regime and putting in a puppet state. No, actually not at all. Now, maybe he believes in that and he can't say it because he's part of some think tank or whatever. Or he's on the news. He can't give away his full strategy. But it is what it is. I don't fully agree with that. But that's not what he was saying. That's what we're saying. Maybe you should try addressing us for once. How about that? Oh, because then you'll be right. And then what's he going to have? He's going to have nothing. He's just going to be like, they're advocating for the government to be taken out. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
That's how it goes. Yeah, we don't want them in power anymore.
These guys are hawks. You sound like a hawk.
Well, yes. We don't want that government in power anymore.
You're ghouls.
Fine, we're ghouls. You're right. You're right. You're right, son. For once.
In the day.
Oh.
In 1953.
Now we're going to talk about the Shah. You got to give me a fucking break. Oh my God, you put this guy in power. Yeah, again, we got to go back 70 years to an event that actually has nothing to do with modern events. Oh, but it happened around the same region, so really. Totally worth bringing up.
The democratically elected Iranian leader, and we put the Shah into power because the Shah was willing to work with U.S. businesses and allowed the UK and the U.S. to basically take a lot of Iran's oil.
Terrible representation. Terrible. Absolutely horrendous.
This is like Michael Moore level analysis we're dealing with right now. Dude.
It's... You know what? I can't believe. Here we are. Okay. We'll explain it, just for the sake of being completionists. Mossadegh being forced from power was inevitable. That was inevitable. There was so much unrest in that nation. So much unrest. You know why? His economic policies were leading the country to ruin. He was an ultra-nationalist. That's their way of saying, oh, he really liked to stick it to the man. He didn't want to trade with the West, with the Western powers.
He was anti-imperialist, man. He was an isolationist, man.
He was those things. And so his downfall was inevitable because of the conditions on the ground. Ironically, now you have people like Kyle who are desperate for these nations to trade with the West. They want protectionism for us at home, sort of, not really. But then they're like, hey, man, you got to let Cuba get all the money, man. You got to let them participate in the global economy, man. It's just unbelievable. It's unbelievable. So if the downfall of Mossadegh is inevitable, what's the best thing to do? Well, you oversee that process. And you ensure that it be as seamless and peaceful as possible. Oh, no, but the Shah, he was cooperative with you. Yes, that's a good thing. That's actually a good thing. You see, Kyle, around that time, we were involved in a little something called the Cold War. You might have heard of it. Maybe you've talked about it in a few of your videos. So
no,
it was
the Cold
actually
War
good.
with Red Scare propaganda.
The Cold Warm.
The Cold Worms.
It was actually a good thing to have a socialist sympathizing government out of power and to have a U.S. friendly government in power. See why that might be a good thing? Especially because later on, Iraq was Soviet backed. It's almost like there's a broader context to all these things he's going to cherry pick. Let's go back to 1953. That way we can go back and we can blame everything that's happening in Iran today on that.
1953.
With U.S. businesses and allowed.
Go back to 1979. Might be more relevant. Might be more relevant to bring up 1979, not 1953 at all.
In the U.S. to basically take a lot of Iran's oil. So that, I mean, that's what we want to do. We want to have our puppet in there who's kind to the West.
The religious,
they're going to stop.
The clerics were not. That class of people are not upset about 1953. They didn't like Mossadegh.
No.
They were actually supportive back in the day of the Shah coming into power. He was almost like a compromise between a lot of groups of people. But, as time wore on, they became upset that the U.S. was, that their government was cooperative with Western powers. And they wanted an Islamic state that they just didn't have under the Shah. So that's preposterous. Oh, they're upset, though. They're upset about 1953. Not really. Not really. They have ideological differences with the United States. That's why they're upset. And even if that were the case, let's say that that's true. Let's say that they were upset about 1953. Why should I care what upsets them? Why should I care what upsets theocrats and capitulate to them and give them everything they want? They're upset that you put a government in power that wasn't them. I'd expect so. Even if some of them were initially supportive of it, and gradually over time, over the course of decades, that we're just going to brush past, like nothing notable happened then. Oh, then they became disillusioned with it, and then they wanted their own government. Then they wanted to rule things their way. They didn't want to be cooperative with the West anymore. Yeah. Why should I care, Kyle? Make your case, Mr. Secular Talk. Why should I care? Oh, that they didn't like that. Oh no. They didn't like that. Should we be actively appeasing this group of people? Does it make any sense? What is to be gained from that?
Dude.
Stop at nothing until they get there. But we're the ones who violated the Iran deal. We're the ones who, killed Qasem Soleimani. And everything that's happening now is retaliation for that. So no, the answer isn't to do more killing.
So you talked about, hey, how about start at 1979 instead of 53? Ironically, he's not even really starting at 1953 here. He's kind of just starting at 2020. So
he is. That's true. So again, 1953. It wasn't even worth bringing into the discussion.
It's just a meme.
Yeah, no, that is what it is. It would be like if we were having some heated argument with the UK, and then someone was just like, "Yeah, you remember 1776?"
Got him.
Yeah, I do. I read about it.
Owned.
I read about it in school. Not exactly relevant, but yeah, no, he's going to go back to
on a school computer.
That's right. He's going to say, "Oh yeah, everything that happened, oh my God, they're retaliating because you killed Soleimani." Yeah, or they were doing attacks under the guidance of Soleimani, and then we killed Soleimani, and that hampered their ability to do those attacks successfully. Kind of like that. Oh, but they didn't immediately cease. They didn't immediately cease all attacks after we took out Soleimani. So therefore, it wasn't worth it. You shouldn't have done that. That wasn't a good strategy. That's amazing.
That's obvious. But this is the way this stuff is discussed in discourse in the US, and it is beyond toxic.
Wow.
No you, Kyle. No
Toxic.
You. No you.
Toxic and psychotic, in fact.
Yeah. Anyway, that was Crumbling Kyle, and we don't have any more time. I got to be up pretty early. I've got an interview with Stephen Michael Davis in 8 hours.
That's fair enough. We got through more than last time, so really.
And we got the whole posse.
We got the whole posse. Got the whole squad laughing.
There we are. So that's Ghoul Gang Rising episode 26. So be sure to go and follow the whole posse over on YouTube at Spooky Nukies. And you can ask to follow him over on Twitter at Spooky Nukies. You can subscribe to this channel for daily content. And you can also follow me on Twitter at Kevin Castley. You got anything else to add, Mr. Posse?
Just that video was bad, obviously. It was a pretty horrendous and blatant example of water carrying for one of the most horrible regimes on the planet, whitewashing our entire history with them, needless venturing into historical events that aren't particularly relevant to what's happening now, and utterly laughable coming from a dude with a channel called Secular Talk. I'm so happy. I look forward to hearing the conversation tomorrow with Stephen Michael Davis. Actually, I posed some questions to you off air for him that I thought would be interesting, but I have no sympathy for Kyle. As much as in terms of that split, I think Jimmy Dore is worse to a degree. No sympathy for Kyle whatsoever. Oh, he's stuck in the middle. He can't appease everyone. Yeah, have fun with that. This is the bed you made. Now you get to lay in it. You fucking suck, bro. And you're getting everything you deserve right about now.
Based. There we go. So if you want to support what I do, check me out over on Ko-Fi, PayPal, and Patreon. And with that, we'll see you in the next video. So take care and stay based.
Thanks for tuning in.